Imagine giving everything you have to someone,
Your time.
your energy, your resources, your full emotional investment, only to watch it not produce the loyalty you were expecting. That is not a rare story. That is one of the most common experiences men have in relationships, and almost none of them understand why it happened. Here is the harsh truth most men were never taught. Women's loyalty does not work the way you think it does. You might believe that by sacrificing consistently, by proving your worth repeatedly, by showing up and giving more than anyone else ever has, you can secure her loyalty. But that belief is the very thing that destroys it. Because the more you try to prove yourself, the faster you push her away. And understanding why that happens will change everything about how you approach relationships from this point forward. It comes down to one truth. Women are not loyal to what you do for them. They're loyal to how you make them feel. That distinction sounds subtle. It is not subtle at all. It is the entire difference between relationships that last and relationships that quietly collapse despite every visible reason they should have worked. Most men are taught a version of love that is fundamentally transactional. Be nice. Be supportive.
Give more.
Do more. And so they invest everything, time, attention, emotional labor, financial resources, operating under the assumption that sustained effort will be recognized, appreciated, and rewarded with loyalty. In the beginning, it can appear to work. She appreciates the gestures. She enjoys the attention. She benefits from the effort. But here is the dangerous misconception buried inside that experience. Appreciation is not loyalty. Comfort is not desire. And effort is not connection. Women attach to emotional experiences, not effort. It is not about how much you do. It is about how she feels when she is with you. You could give her everything, be attentive, be present, be consistently generous. But if the emotional experience fades, so does her attachment. Some men do very little and women remain completely captivated by them. Other men give everything they have and still end up replaced. This is not luck. This is psychology. Female loyalty is rooted in emotional connection, not in a scorecard of what you have provided. And here is where it becomes more specific. Women are loyal to how a man makes them feel about themselves, not to his consistency, not to his sacrifices, not to his record of effort. When you begin overgiving in order to secure her loyalty, you are communicating something she reads immediately beneath the surface of your behavior. You are communicating fear. Fear of losing her. And fear kills attraction faster than almost anything else. When you are constantly trying to prove your worth, what you are actually telling her, without words, without intention, is that you do not already believe you are enough. Women detect this. Not always consciously, but they feel it. And when they feel it, attraction begins to fade. The more you do from a place of insecurity, the more insecure the foundation beneath the relationship becomes. Here is the truth many men genuinely refuse to accept. Women do not leave when a man is imperfect. They leave when a man becomes emotionally weak. When he starts reacting rather than leading. When he seeks validation instead of standing in his own certainty. When he overexplains himself rather than holding his position. When he asks, "Are we okay?" more often than he asks himself whether he is okay. This is when loyalty begins to slip. Not dramatically, not overnight, but consistently, quietly, in the direction away from you. The power of identity is the piece most men completely miss. Women are not loyal to your personality or your efforts. They are loyal to your identity. A man who walks away when he is disrespected, who does not collapse emotionally under pressure, who does not beg for attention or reassurance, that man communicates internal value. And it is internal value that draws women in and holds them there, not what he provides. Who he is. Think about the man who does not chase every validation, who is not always immediately available, who does not apologize for things that were not his fault. These behaviors communicate something that effort never can. They communicate strength. And it is strength, quiet, grounded, genuine strength, that attracts loyalty. On the other hand, a man who seeks approval constantly, who becomes emotionally dependent, who needs her to confirm his worth repeatedly, he signals weakness. And women are not loyal to weakness. This is one of the hardest realities for men to accept because it runs completely counter to what they were taught. They were told that kindness earns loyalty, that giving earns loyalty, that doing everything right earns loyalty. But loyalty is not earned through giving. It is inspired by who you are. There is also a critical distinction most men confuse: the difference between obligation and loyalty. A woman can feel obligated to you. She may appreciate you, feel comfortable with you, feel genuinely indebted to you for what you have done. But that is not loyalty. Obligation is a mental tally. She is counting what you have given and weighing it against what she has received. Loyalty has no scorecard. She stays because of who you are, not because of what you have provided. When you overgive, you do not build loyalty. You build obligation. And obligation is fragile. The moment what you give no longer exceeds what she feels she owes, the calculation shifts. Loyalty built on respect and genuine connection does not work that way. It is stable because it is not based on transactions. Women are also loyal to momentum. They are not loyal to the past. They are loyal to who you are right now and where you are going. When a man is growing, evolving, pursuing something meaningful, she feels drawn into that momentum. But when he stagnates, when he gets comfortable, when he stops challenging himself, that is when her emotional alignment begins to fade. Attraction is not rooted in nostalgia. It does not survive on what you were when you first met. It lives in who you are becoming. This is why comfortable stagnation quietly kills relationships that appeared perfectly stable. The man stopped moving, and she stopped feeling the pull. How a man handles difficulty is equally significant. Women are loyal to men who can face loss with dignity. When there is conflict, when things go wrong, when emotions run high, does he stay grounded or does he unravel? A man who can face setbacks without losing himself, who can say, "I care about this, but I will not beg for it," becomes genuinely difficult to walk away from. Not because of what he did, because of how he held himself when the outcome was uncertain. Emotional stability under pressure is one of the rarest and most compelling things a man can demonstrate. Women also test emotional strength, not always consciously, but consistently. They pull back slightly, create a little distance, become cooler for a period, not because they want to leave, because they want to see who you are when there is no reassurance coming from them. And this is where most men fail. They see the withdrawal, and they chase. They explain themselves. They try to close the gap with more effort, more words, more demonstrations of care. But chasing confirms exactly what the test was measuring for. It confirms that his emotional stability depends on her approval. When a man stays centered, grounded, and unfazed during these moments, when he does not panic or pursue, she sees something that is genuinely rare. And loyalty deepens in response to it. Here is what women are not loyal to. They are not loyal to overavailability, not to emotional dependency, not to people-pleasing that has no boundaries, not to self-sacrifice that communicates you have no sense of your own worth. These behaviors feel safe to the man doing them. They feel like love. But safety without attraction produces indifference. And indifference is always the beginning of the end. The biggest mistake men make is confusing love with loyalty. A woman can love a man deeply and still leave if she does not respect him. Love moves with emotions and circumstances. Respect is a foundation. And respect does not come from what you do for her. It comes from how you value yourself. When a woman respects you, that respect holds even when feelings fluctuate. When she does not respect you, no amount of love, no amount of giving, no amount of effort will produce loyalty that lasts. What are women genuinely, deeply loyal to? Emotional strength, self-respect, a clear sense of direction, an identity that does not shift depending on whether she validates it. They are loyal to how they feel in a man's presence, not what he does for her while he is there. Stop trying to prove yourself to her. Stop trying to earn loyalty through sacrifice and demonstration. That approach does not build what you are hoping for. It builds the exact opposite. Build instead a strong, grounded sense of who you are. Pursue your own growth with genuine commitment. Maintain your boundaries without apology. Respect yourself enough that her approval is something you welcome rather than something you require. When you stop seeking her validation, when you stop giving endlessly from a place of fear, something shifts. You begin embodying the kind of man who naturally inspires loyalty rather than the kind of man who exhausts himself trying to manufacture it. Loyalty is not something you earn. It is something you become worthy of. And the path there has nothing to do with how much you give. It has everything to do with who you are becoming.